the more I realized that there was like this, just soul connection, the more difficult it was to accept the fact that he had died. And I was so angry. I think, like probably a lot of people, about him and anyone, whether it's a friend or family or a loved one or whatever, that when somebody that you care about is gone, even though you can know on one hand that there's like this divine, there could be some higher divine purpose, or that their spirit is okay, that it still hurts. It just hurts. It sucks that they're gone, because it's so rare. It's so amazing when you can meet and connect with friends and people that you vibe with and resonate with. Well, that's just such a special thing. So it was very special to me. And so we were having this connection and communication, and then he was like, but you've got to get out of Los Angeles. He was telling Britt, I didn't like communicate with him all the time, but I'd say maybe 5 or 6 times, or 6 to 10 times. I don't even know, but I have written it all down. But my therapist at the time was very much like, you need to just record the sessions. And she very much understood that like what I was experiencing was real, and that this phenomenon is real. And I'm so blessed to have had her as a therapist at the time, because some people would have just been like, oh, you're crazy. But she was very, very, supportive and nurturing, and just encouraged me to record the sessions. I wrote everything. I hand wrote everything. And sometime, I want to say late August or early September 2018, Tim Avicii said to Britt, she's got to leave Los Angeles, go take care of yourself, be in a retreat, go back to the temple. And I lived in spiritual centers for many years. And so I went back to my spiritual community, kind of like a temple, on this particularly very, very spiritual campus. Actually, Oprah Winfrey had done a big special on this particular campus where I was staying. There were over 1,000 basically monks, they're called pundits, from India, doing these ceremonies for world peace there and meditating many long hours a day. A lot of them had gone back to India, but there were still a few on the campus when I was there. And so it was a very beautiful experience, actually. But even though I was in a lot of pain, and agony, and I was having all these really beautiful experiences too. But one of the experiences, it's like, how long do you got? Because I could talk all day. But one of the experiences was relating to music. And I sat down one morning, I think it was in early December 2018, and I was preparing to go into a few weeks of intensive treatments of Ayurvedic Panchakarma treatments, because I was a mess and I hadn't slept for not more than like a couple hours a night for several months. And it was really making me sick, So and like this whole thing, it's been so difficult to like work and manage my health and everything. This has just been so intense the last few years. But I was about to meditate, and all of a sudden, and I hadn't even started my meditation. I was just sitting there and I had my eyes closed, and all of a sudden I start hearing these verses, and I start seeing like this orchestra and all these violin and string players, and I start getting the verses and the harmonies and the melodies, everything. It's just like so clear and so strong and so powerful. And it's just so beautiful. I'm practically, like not even sobbing, but just like overflowing, like flooding with this love and joy and this power of this music. And I hear Jim, it's like, listen. And I see people that he's collaborated with, like Chris Martin, and there's been a lot of Chris Martin stories, which is why I wanted to share this, because I reference Chris Martin. There's a video in the feed called Wake Me Up. In that video, I say I know Tim's been around these artists, and I've heard Aloe Black talk about this in articles too. But in this experience, Tim was like, listen, and he was showing, like Chris Martin play the piano on it, and the melodies. And I did record the song. This is my point, is that I'm going to share the song on this feed. I wasn't planning on doing this. This was just I was never going to talk about this, honestly. But because this content is going to be posted, I just feel like I want to share this story in the context. I don't know who's going to see it, and maybe it doesn't even matter. But so Tim is like singing and playing the song for me, and I recorded it. I called it "The Light That Seeks You," and there's a lot that I didn't record, and of course I was dating a producer at the time, so he was able to help me record it, but I never could vocalize or play or even convey, but I could hear it so clearly. I could hear it so clearly, and it was like, there's a couple lines. It's like, everything will be perfect. It's like, but it was so high energy, like everything will be perfect. And I could hear the piano like da 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 da. And it goes on. There's a lot more, but it was like da 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 da. That's the everything will be perfect. And then there was other parts that I didn't record because I just could never in a million years hit these notes. But it was like, it was just about just feeling that love and joy and everything all around. And Tim had talked about this a lot, like being Avicii and feeling that and connecting with people's higher power and just like all this energy of the good, like the good side, like the highest version of us. And we all, it's like we're all living such a small fraction of our capacity or potential as human beings, and yet we all have like all of this soul energy just waiting to shine through our hearts and our being and radiate and live it and share it on the planet. And so that's what Avicii allowed him to do, allowed him to be and share with other people. And there were several artists that he was showing me, Chris Martin, Lady Gaga, and a couple other people. And also he had mentioned Lady Gaga to Britt, so I knew this wasn't just like my own imagination. There were very, very specific things that Britt kept validating over and over and over again, where I just began to trust. Like that I knew I could know when he was around, because she would validate my experiences. And not that I was even like trying to talk with him or have him around. That wasn't the case, but it just kept happening. So there's so much more that I want to share. I think I'm going to end right there. Okay. And so I'm going to play the song, and I'll show the cover art on the feed. And there's actually a story about that too. I'll share in the next video, okay?